Hello and welcome to Ross's Movie Reviews again, and I am continuing my reviews on the Star Trek movie franchise. And here we have the 8th entry, Star Trek First Contact, which there is no the original Star Trek series. There is none of them in this movie. This is all the Next Generation. This is their first full-fledged movie. They have the entire screen time on this, and let me tell you something. It's a very, very good movie. It really is. Alright. Now here we go with the plot. Similar to Star Trek II, there was a couple of episodes in Star Trek The Next Generation that was actually the most popular of the entire Next Generation series. It was called The Best of Both Worlds. And what it was basically the confrontation between the Borg, the most popular enemy of the Next Generation series, and the Starship Enterprise. In that episode, Captain Jean-Luc Picard had been taken over by the Borg. They had captured him to gain his intelligence and to gain his respect, so that the crew would be more wanting to come over to the Borg, to surrender to the Borg more easily. That episode, I'm assuming that the producers basically said in that episode, look, now it worked for Space Seed in Star Trek II. Why not let us take a storyline from that and make a movie out of it? So what they did was they made Star Trek First Contact. Now this has a great cast. I mean, it has all the Next Generation cast members. Patrick Stewart, Jonathan Frakes, Marina Sirtis. It has all the cast members that you come to know and love with the Next Generation crew. It also has some very good actors. It has Alice Krige as the Borg Queen in this, who does an absolutely fantastic job. James Cromwell, who is the most respected person in Starfleet, who basically gave birth to Starfleet, or gave birth to Warp Drive. And what you have is a movie that is very good on all counts. Now, what this movie is about, is that in the 24th century, the captain encounters a quadrant of space that is being invaded by the Borg. And what happens is that the Borg, still wanting to assimilate Earth from the last episode, have actually found a better way to do it. And they do. At the end of a huge, massive battle between Starfleet and this Borg ship, the Borg somehow find a way to go back in time to assimilate First Contact, the meeting between an alien race and humanity. That alien race would later be known as, well, the Vulcans. So, what this does is it puts the Enterprise crew kind of on an adventure to go to make sure that First Contact happens as it's supposed to, because they have to go back in time before First Contact happened, a little bit before First Contact happened, and try to make sure that it happens when it's supposed to happen, and make sure that James Cromwell's character can do his warp experiment. Now, this Star Trek is, again, we have one of these Star Trek movies that is a vast improvement over the last one. The last one was fairly good. It was fun to watch. But this one is much better. It has the Star Trek humor that you've come to know and love. It has the next generation characters get their own, each one of them get their own screen time in this. You have an amazing storyline between the Borg and the Starship crew. You have a cool storyline between the First Contact, our first meeting between the Vulcans, and you have just a very all-around great story. And again, as in with Star Trek 3 and 4, this was actually directed by one of them, Jonathan Frakes, who plays Commander Willam Riker. He did a great job. He really did. He really respected the fans. And, you know, even if you didn't like The Next Generation, even if you didn't like it, even some of the first generation fans can come to this and say, gosh, this movie is really cool. It really is what Star Trek is about. It really is. Because it gets that exploration type of feeling to it. And it gets that, you know, that type of, you know, it gets that Star Trek vibe to it. It really does. And I think the one thing about this movie that I really like, I really think is really cool, is that you get to know more about Jean-Luc Picard's experience with the Borg. You didn't see that before in those other two episodes because they were under budget and stuff like that. They still made an excellent episode in The Best of Both Worlds. In fact, so good that I think they could have showed that as a feature too, a feature movie too. But they just really grew on that storyline. I thought it was really cool that he really has been very damaged by the Borg, and that he really does want revenge for what happened to him, you know, because it was a traumatic experience for him. And you see that in this, and that's really cool, you know. Another great part is, like, just as I said, Jonathan Frakes, he really did respect this series, and he really did want to make a good movie for the fans, and he really did want to make it, you know, good enough for even the people who love the first series, you know, to come and enjoy. And I think he did that. And I think that while he may not be as good a director as Leonard Nimoy, he's good, you know. He was great at what he did. Now, join me in our next entry, Star Trek 9. Jonathan Frakes still directed it. One of the odd ones. not good. But we will review it next. Not as good as it's not as bad as Star Trek V, but it's not good. So join me for Star Trek 9, and we will dissect Star Trek Insurrection. But anyways, this is a great movie, and one of the best of the Star Trek movies. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great week. Thank you.